Okay, now we're going to do the Dr. Adam and the Virus by Hazem Nassar. Meet Dr. Adam. Dr. Adam works at the hospital. A hospital is where people go for health issues. People who go to the hospital are called patients. Those who are sick have what is called an illness or a disease. Dr. Adam's job is to care for sick patients. Dr. Adam does not take care of his patients alone. He gets help from nurses like Thomas. This is Thomas. Nadia. This is Nadia. And Estelle. This is Estelle. Nurses spend more time with patients than doctors do. They get to know their patients well and can make helpful suggestions to the doctors. So Estelle is asking the older woman if she's all right here. Dr. Adam decides what medicines his patients need, but it's the nurses who actually give it to them. So that here is calling Dr. Adam. There's Thomas over there with the... Some illnesses are not too bad. When that happens, the patients may not need to stay in the hospital at all, or may only stay one day. So he is saying, you get to go home today. A few more days. Some are bad enough that the patient has to stay in the hospital for a few days or weeks. Well, that's not good. Hey there, Dark Vader. It's great to see you, and good morning. Some are the worst. The patient may never return home. Uh-oh. One day, an unusually high number of people showed up at the hospital. They all said they felt like they had the flu. And they're like, what is happening? Some of them the same, but they had stayed home because they were not as sick. The same thing happened the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that. So this is like, achoo, my head hurts, cough, cough. It's hard to breathe. Uh-oh. Cough, achoo. Uh-oh. That does not sound good. Oh, that's great. Oh, pancakes? Yeah, pancakes are so good. And I think this is the coronavirus outbreak, but it's getting better. We will run out of beds soon. We need to get more beds then. Every day, more and more patients showed up. Dr. Adam realized this is going to be a long, tough battle. But against who? Dr. Adam started thinking out loud. People get sick for many reasons, but when many people get a similar illness at the same time, then an infection must be the reason. Dr. Adam knew that infections happen when tiny creatures snuck into people's bodies and moved from one person to another. Some of those creatures were called viruses. Yep, coronavirus. Viruses can sneak into the body in different ways. Some viruses can travel in the air when people sneeze, cough, or even breathe. Some hide in the dirty water of food. Ew. Ugh. Some others can move from one person's blood to another's. Okay, that's scary. But when the creatures that were making people sick this time were not viruses, the creatures that were making people sick this time were not like other viruses. This was a new virus called coronavirus. Corona was such a tricky villain. It could travel through air faster and more easily than other viruses. It was also a very powerful villain. It could make an illness very bad or even the worst. Okay. Dr. Adam needed to find a way to slow Corona down faster and to study how it worked. He decided to keep track of the number of daily cases. This may need some math to do, he said to himself. He drew a line on the board. Every time a new case showed up, he added it under that line. Each new case that pushed the line up, making it curve instead of flat. Oh dear, that is not good. When too many cases showed up at the same time, the line moved quicker up, much quicker, which meant a much bigger curve. The curve kind of reminded him of his childhood when he'd make a big monster by putting his toys under the blanket. With each new toy, the bump got bigger and bigger. Yeah. But this was not a toy monster. This was a big curve of viruses. Soon it would be too big for the hospital to fight back. Dr. Adam knew the hospital would run soon out of space. He hated to think of his friends in town being sick with no place to go. Even worse, he knew if they did not get treatment, they would never make it. We have to flatten the curve, Dr. Adam said aloud. Few daily cases would make the curve smaller, which would mean more room in the hospital. How to make the line flat? We should flatten the curve. Yeah, we should probably do that. Dr. Adam thought about the ways to flatten the curve. He realized that since Corona traveled through air, it would sneak into the body, mainly through the nose and the mouth. 4 ideas came to Dr. Adam's mind, so he made a plan and announced it to the townspeople. We touch our faces with our hands many times every day. Clean hands means no viruses, so we should wash our hands often. Masks cover our noses and mouths and can make it more difficult for the viruses to sneak into them, so we should wear masks when around people. Virus can move very easily in big crowds. Staying home more often, we will come in contact with fewer people. When outside, avoid big crowds and keep a distance when people are around. So now the virus is like, I can't read. Don't forget the mask. People listened to Dr. Allen's plan and followed it. The viruses are like, whatever. The coronaviruses found it difficult to reach people and couldn't attack in large numbers. Slowly but surely, cases went down and the curve began to flatten. Townspeople had done it. They had kept the virus at bay. Now the viruses are saying, I think we lost. The hospital was now well prepared. It had plenty of room for the sick people who came in, and it could give them the care they needed. Thank you, hospital workers. Thanks to the town's. Thank you, our heroes. Now, every time the viruses plan a big attack, the people, nurses, and doctors will be ready to stop it, time after time. Dedication to the brave nurses who spend hours in very close contact with their patients. A million books wouldn't do you justice. To every hospital worker, the souls of the COVID-19 pandemic victim, to every essential worker on the planet and their families. Finally, to my incredible wife and my precious 9-month-old daughter, who waited months before I returned from self-quarantine. Okay, so I think this is like a really good book, and it bases all of it off of real facts, and it tells us what we should do in real life when the corona is around. So, and it makes the book, and it makes the thing sound a little bit more fun and less scary. So, I think little children would be able to read this without getting scared too much. Yeah, and they would know how to protect themselves at the same time. The illustrations are very nice. It's like great. It's the same like pencil-y outline with nice color and like tufts of darker color here in the shading part. And yeah, so it's like nice and pencil-y with like some, how do I say, with some pastel, like oil pastel in it, like over here. So yeah, and this is like oil pastel as well. So yeah, and the story, it like reminds me of how we're doing in real life, but we are flattening the curve by like keeping self-distance and quarantine and wearing masks and staying home. So yeah. So this book is great, and I'll give it a 5 out of 5. Okay.